type the incorrect URL.
Okay.
5xx is server
Can you
side
repeat
error.
4xx? What is the response code 4xx? Can you repeat the
4xx is the client side error, sir. When you type the any website URL, that URL is incorrect, you can type the. That means client side error, sir.
Okay.
5xx is server side error. When you type the any website, that time server side any issues is there, and that time we can get the server side error. 500 codes starts with 500.
Yeah, even though you send a valid request, if there is some issue on the server side, then you get the 5xx.
Yes, sir.
Good start. Okay. So let me move to the next one. So Sweta, so there is some restriction between on one of these, like get and post. Which request method has that length restriction, and what is that?
Post method do not
Post method?
Yeah, get method do not get method have length restrictions, and post method do not have length restrictions.
Right. So what is the length restriction on get request?
2.048 characters.
2.048.
2.048.
No.
2048.
Yeah, 2000. Okay.
That's a
2000.
comma. That's a comma, not a point.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Yes. All right. So let's move on to the next concept. So before starting the tool, right, I want to cover HTTP request structure, response structure, and then we'll go to the we'll start with the tool. Most probably from Wednesday we'll start Jmeter, right? So I need to cover like a few more concepts, that is request structure and response structure, and some basic terminology. And why do we need a tool for doing this load testing? And some basic definitions in performance system terminology. I mean, I'll cover this, I'll explain this, and then we'll go to, we'll start with Jmeter. Okay. So let's get started with the request structure and response structure. So we have been discussing, like when we type a URL, we are actually sending a HTTP request to the server, isn't it? Whenever we type some URL like gmail.com or irctc.co.in or any other icbank.com, right? You are actually sending a HTTP request to the server, right? And the response that you get from the server is called HTTP response. Clear, guys? Now let's understand this HTTP request structure. So how does it go, and what is it made up of? What does it contain? Request structure contain, and what does the response structure contain? So the first and foremost thing is, like there are three parts in the request or response, whether it is HTTP request or whether it is HTTP response. So it can be classified into three types of. So both HTTP request and HTTP response consists of three parts. Right? We can classify into three parts. So what are those? The first one is the request line, as you can see here. The first one is the request line, right? And request headers and request body, as you can see here, right? HTTP request is made up of request line, request headers, request body. So in the same way, HTTP response is made up of status line, response headers, response body. Right? Now let's understand each of these. So what is HTTP request line? So request line contains your request method, protocol, first protocol, then request method, and the request URL. Let me use this. Right? So request line consists of HTTP request method token, right? And request URL and HTTP protocol, the protocol, right? So this is the syntax case. So the first one is request method token, that is get or post or put or delete, followed by the request URL, followed by the protocol. And this is how it looks like. So any request line looks like, this is how it looks like. Suppose you type google.co.in, right? So your request line looks like this. It will contain the request method followed by the URL, followed by protocol and version, right? HTTP is the protocol and 1.1 is the version here. Here guys, so when you send a request to webtools index.htm, this is how your request line looks like, right? And clear guys, what is request line? There is some background noise from, let me mute everyone. Yeah, so please see, if you want to speak, press and hold the space bar. So to temporarily unmute yourself. Press and hold the space bar if you want to speak or if you want to reply, guys. Okay, so I muted everyone because of some background noise from few participants. Okay, so the request line consists of sorry, request line consists of request method token. Method token is nothing but request method. Get. And yeah, whether it's a get or post or put or delete or patch or any other request method, followed by a request URI, right? And then HTTP protocol and version. So that is so request line is made up of these three parts. Next, request headers. So request headers, there will be 0 or more headers in the request. So what does this and what are these headers basically? So these headers are used to pass additional information about the request. Right? I have highlighted in different colors. This definition is important, guys. What is the purpose of request headers? In interviews they will ask like, what is request headers? Or can you explain the HTTP request structure? So this is what you have to explain. When you are explaining, if they ask what is a request header, or what is a response header, or what is the purpose of headers, right? So headers are used to pass additional information about the request or response. Here, so if you see here, response headers are used to pass additional information about the response to the client. Request headers are used to pass additional information about the request. So basically, headers are used to pass some additional information. And now, what is that additional information? Let's understand that. The first one is in the request headers. These are I listed out some important headers, request headers. The first one is request method, right? It will tell you whether it is a get request or a post request, and the request time, at what time the request is made, and what is the encoding format, right? So accept encoding gzip deflate means, see, your when server sends the response to the browser, right, it will send the response in a compressed format. It will compress the response and it will send to the browser. Once browser receives the response, it will deflate that or it will uncompress that. And browser is saying here that I can accept only this gzip. Please send me the response in gzip compressed format. Understood, guys? There are different types of compression methods, right? When browser says that it is accept encoding is gzip, browser is saying that please send the response in this compressed format only. Understood or no?
Yes.
Right? Remember that when server sends the response, it will compress the response and it will send to the browser, and browser receives the response and uncompress the response. Clear?
Can you repeat it again, sir?
Okay. See, when you type some URL and when you get some response, so when you type some URL, say, let's say, type some, you send a request to the server. Now this is the response that we got. Internally, what happens is your browser, your server receives the request, process it, and sends this response in a compressed format. Whatever you are seeing now, it will not come as it is, like it will not come as it is, but it will be coming from the server in a compressed format. Response ni compress chesi pampistundi to save some bandwidth, right? See, compression is nothing but, see, if you want to do a file transfer, there is a big file and you want to do a file transfer. So you can send it as it is, or else you can compress it and send it as a GIF, in a GIF format. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
I hope everyone is aware of that. Okay, so okay, let me tell you. Let me show you with some examples. 1 second, guys. It as a GIF file. It's shared as a GIF file, isn't it? So what is the size of this 37690 KB? That's what you see here, right? And when you uncompress this is the actual size of that file. Let's see that what is the actual size. How much is this? 61.3 MB. Yes. Guys, able to understand? So this is the actual size of this folder. WebTools 1.0 actual size is 61.3 MB, right? But it is when it compressed, right? When it is saved, when it is compressed into a GIF format, you can see here. What is the size of this? 37690 KB. Whereas the actual, what is the actual size, guys?
61.
So some 66, 71, 66, 208 bytes, isn't it? See, what is the size on the disk? Observe here, 64 MB. Forget about, like you can take this number, consider this number. It's the actual size of the folder is 64 MB. But when it got compressed, right, what is the size of this? It's 37 MB. 37690 KB means nothing but approximately 37 MB.
37 MB.
Yes or no? So this is the benefit of compressing the contents, right? So the size gets reduced and it will be faster to transfer on the network. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? So now when when we get the response from the server to the browser also, you will get the response in a compressed format. Okay. And once the browser gets the response, it will uncompress that. It will extract that, and it will render the response. Is it clear so far?
Okay, sir.
Now browser is saying that I can accept only this compression format. I can accept only this encoding format. ggp and deflate. That's what it means. Okay. So browser is sending some additional information to the server. Yes or no? Saying that this is the time that I am making request. I am using this browser, and I can, one more request header is accept language. One more important request header is accept language EN/US. That means browser is saying that I can understand only US English. EN for English, US is the country code. So what does it mean? Browser is saying that please send the response to me in US English. Clear, guys? So
Okay.
browser is sending some additional information about the request. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So, Pawan, this is Sunil. Like, can we see an example? Like, do you have any snapshot so we can, we can correlate immediately?
Sure. Yeah, I'll show you. Suppose you type gmail.com, right? So if you see this, let's go to the main URL. Okay, let's go to the main URL and see these request headers. You can see here. One second. See, it contains the request method and accept. See here, accept encoding, ggip, deflate, br, accept language, US English. So when you are sending a request internally, what happens is browser will send some additional information to the server. What is that additional information? Browser is saying that I can understand only this US English. Understood? So then server will send the response in English language. Clear, guys? See, Gmail supports multiple languages for your information. Gmail supports international languages like Chinese, Japanese. Suppose if some user is accessing Gmail from China, so and if he has set the language preference to Chinese language, right? Then he will see that Gmail in his own language. In the same way, if a Japanese user is accessing Gmail, so and if he has set the language preference to Japanese language, then he'll see the page in Japanese language. That is called as internationalization. Means Gmail or any application supporting international languages is called as internationalization. As simple as that. Clear, guys?
Yeah, clear. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me tell you. So that is called, the concept is called as international I18N. In short, there is a short term for that called as I18N. I18N stands for internationalization. Why that is called as I18N means it has, if you observe this word, right? Let me show you something. Yeah, okay, the term is already here. So see here, how many characters are there in this word? You can see it here. 20 characters, one word. So basically this website counts you the number of characters. If you type some word or sentence here, it will show you how many characters are there, how many words are there, how many sentences are there. Understood? Let me show you. Let me copy this. See, for instance, if I copy this into this website, right, into this space, right? So see here, it is showing there are 209 characters, 28 words, 7 sentences, 5 paragraphs, 27 spaces. Within a fraction of a second, you are getting this information, isn't it? Right? Charactercountonline.com. I Google search for character count online. Now, clear, guys, what does this website does? Yes, am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, sir.
Now let me check. If you observe this word, right, internationalization, right? So there are 20 characters, 20 letters in this word. There are 20 characters, means 20 letters in this word. Okay, and then why it is called as I18N is excluding I and N, first and last character. In between there are 18 letters, right? 18 alphabets or 18 characters. Yes or no? That's why this is called as I18N. And what is this internationalization means? An application supporting international languages, many languages. Supporting international languages. Called I18N. It's a big word, right? Internationalization. Instead of pronouncing that as internationalization, this is an industry standard term that is pronounced as I18N. Clear, guys? Let me open it. Am I clear, guys? Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, Kishore.
Yes, ma'am.
Did I share this Word document to you? I think I did not share it. I will share it.
No, Kishore.
Yeah, today I will share it. Yeah. Clear, guys? Now coming back to this. Now, so these are the request status. Observe here. Along with the request, see, this is the request URL. See here, this is the request URL. request method, and this is the status code, response code. Along with the request URL, this information also goes to the server. What information? What is the request method? What is the path? What is the scheme? Scheme means HTTP or HTTPS. And what is accept means browser is saying that please send the response in this format, in any of these formats. Okay. And browser is also saying that please send the response in this GGIF format only. And browser is also saying that I can understand only US English. That's what it means. And how does the browser know that you can understand US English is when you are installing the operating system, you'll set up, you'll choose the language, or the person who is installing the software, he will select the language as US English. That's how it is able to know that you can understand US English. Understood, yes?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
So there is some additional information sent to the server, and that additional information is sent in the request headers. Is it clear, guys? User, what is meant by user agent? User agent is nothing but your browser.
Browser we are using.
Okay, user agent is nothing but your browser, whatever browser format browser you are using, right? And the next part is request body. Request body tries to send additional information required by the server to process current request properly. So let us see if there is some request body here. Okay, so where can you see that the request body? So here in, see, observe here, user agent here is here, observe here, Mozilla 5.0 or Apple WebKit or Chrome 96, right? Chrome 96. See, this contains a list of browsers. So Chrome 96, I think this is the actual version of Chrome. So if you see about Google Chrome, it shows, see here, here you can see the browser version. Here guys, my Chrome version is 96. Is it clear, guys? User agent is nothing but that represents your browser, some string which represents your browser. Okay. Next, this particular request doesn't contain any request body. That's why you are not seeing anything here. Okay. But if some request contains request body, you'll see that later. Okay. So let me do one. Let me click on sign in. Here you can see. In the last session, I told you request body, they introduced a new tab called payload. If you remember, in the last session, I have shown you, I explained this payload. Payload tab is nothing but request body. Understood? Payload tab means nothing but request body. Let me write it down. Okay. Yes, is it clear? Shall we move to the next one? Any queries over here? Can we move to HTTP response structure? Yes, if you understand these concepts, your scripting will be easy for you. When you go to the tool, right, that scripting will be a cakewalk to you. Guys, why is there is silence? So, am I audible, guys?
Okay, sir.
Yes, Pawan, audible. We understand.
Able to understand or no? See,
Yes, sir.
request
Yes,
structure
able to understand and
consists
clear.
of 3 parts. That's it. So this is the actual request that goes to the server. So when you type google.co.in, your request will go like this, right? What does it contain? It contains the request method and your URL or URI. URL or URI, both are, so there is a small difference between this URL and URI. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator, and URI, one second. URI and URL. Okay. URI is an acronym for Uniform Resource Identifier, and URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. So just go through this article later on. Okay, so these are like so if we keep on discussing these basics also, we cannot make progress. Okay, please go through those whenever you come across some new term. If it is something new to you, right click on the PPT, like, or else you can Google search and do that, or else you can use this explore option, right? Explore option, it will open the Google search results over here like this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, Keshav.
Yeah. Now let's move on to the next concept, that is response structure. So response structure, HTTP response is a packet of information sent by server to the client in response to an earlier request made by the client. Client means browser here, right? We use some browser to send our request. See, understand here why this is called as user agent. User means you and me. We are using an agent called browser to send the request to the server. That's why this is called as user agent. Is this clear why it is called as user agent? And why, right? What is this user agent and why it is called as user agent? To communicate with the server, see, when you type gmail.com, you have to communicate with the Gmail server. You are using a browser as an agent, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
that's why these browsers, all these browsers are called as user agents. User means you and me. User agent means nothing but your browser, whatever browser you are trying to communicate with the server. Clear? What is this term user agent? Is it clear, guys?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now HTTP response means here you have sent a request like this. You have sent some request to google.co.in or Gmail like this, and you get it is a valid request. If server is able to process the request, it will send a response, HTTP response. That HTTP response is a packet of information sent by server to the client in response to an earlier request made by the client. Okay, so please understand the concepts. Don't by heart the definitions. Please understand the concepts. Okay, and that response consists of 3 parts again. What are those 3 parts? The first one is status line. Status line means it consists of protocol version, response code, status message, right? It consists of protocol, response code, and status message. So, and it looks like this: HTTP 1.1 200. Okay, when any response will be typically in this format. I think I cannot exactly show you that here, but I will show you once we start the go to the tool. I will show you that. Okay, see the response. Okay, no, see here. See the response here. So maybe I could not show you. I cannot show you here exactly, but I can show you. See here, you see response headers, right? And in this is response body. This is response body. It is not loaded here because the request was redirected. Observe here. The request was redirected to some other URL. And where is it? Where is it? See here, you can see. If you observe here, there is a response code of 301, which means this request is redirected to some other URL.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So understand this, like you can see the response headers in this way. If you go to headers, under headers, you see all the request URL, request method, status code. This is nothing but your response code and response headers. And where do you see the response body is? If you go to response tab, it will show you response body. Let me show you some response body. See here. There is a request to CSS file. And here, this is the response of, this is the content of that CSS file. Or this is the response body. Is it clear, guys? Some responses are redirected. That's why you see that you don't see any content here. It clearly displays a message here, no content available because this request was redirected to some other URL. And this is the response, the body that we got. And this is the response that we got in, this is the HTML content of the response. Clear, guys? So your response, HTTP response consists of status line. Status line, what does status line contain? First part is protocol and version. HTTP is the protocol. What is protocol is? Harish, what is meant by protocol? What is meant by protocol here, Harish? Harish, are you with us?
HTTP is the protocol.
No, I'm asking what is meant by protocol. What can you define protocol?
Communication language between the browser and the server. That is nothing
Right.
but protocol.
Communication language between browser and server. Right?
Manaki word.
Okay, and this is the version of that protocol. And 200, what is 200? This is nothing but response code, right? If your request is processed successfully, you will get this response code, right? And a status message, message okay or success. It can be okay or success.
Okay.
You remember, like when we discussed response codes,
Yes,
this
sir.
200 represents success. That means your request is processed successfully.
Process.
Right? If your request is processed successfully and you get the response, then only you'll see this 200 response code. 200 and okay or success. You'll see the status message as okay or success. Next part of the response is response headers. Right? Again, I already explained what is a header. Headers are used to pass additional information about the response to the client. And let's understand what additional information server is sending to the client. Right? Observe here, what does this response headers contain? So let me show you some important things, okay, that you need to understand. See here, this is nothing but your response date, at what time you got the response, and expires, at what time the response expires, right? And last modified, it means at what time this response was last modified, means this page was modified last on 7th December. That's what it means. Last modified means this particular page was modified by the developer on 7th December. Understood, guys?
Yes,
And
sir.
it will also
Yes,
tell
sir.
you what is the, yes. Any queries here, guys? Let me try to show you one more example. One second. This is a sample application, like sometimes it doesn't work, so it behaves very randomly. So you know, like you have to restart the server. Sometimes, most of the times, it gets fixed once you restart the server. Let me send a request to that. Let me try to access that application, and let me show you the response headers, request headers, and response headers with this application example also. Closing the Gmail, opening developer tools, and I'm doing a control refresh. I'm sending a request again. Now see here. So this is the main URL that I have typed in the browser, isn't it? This is the main this is the request URL. Request method is get. Status code is 200 okay. That means if your request is processed successfully, you get this response code of 200 and okay, right? And you see some request headers. Let's understand the request headers first. So what does your browser, what additional information your browser has sent? Browser said that I can understand this ggif format, I can process the ggif format, or I can accept this compression format, I can understand US English, right? That's what your browser sent to the server. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right? And now let's understand the response headers. Response headers, these are some important response headers. Connection keep alive. I will discuss later what is connection keep alive and all. We will discuss that later. That needs some time to understand. Right? But for now, remember that response headers, any headers are used to pass some additional information. Okay. And response headers give some additional information about the response. Right? And what is the content type, text or HTML? This response consists of text or HTML. What does that mean? If you open view frame source, right? So this contains some HTML code, right? That's what it means here. Content type is text or HTML, means it represents HTML or text. Clear, guys? Content length is 366. Content length is 366 characters, right? And date response. This is nothing but response time. At what time you got the response? This time is in GMT, by the way. That's why you are seeing a different time, right? But GMT plus how much is IST? What is the what is the relation between GMT and IST? What is GMT first? What can you? What is the GMT is an acronym for
Greenwich Mean Time.
Greenwich Mean Time. That is the universal time that all countries follow as a standard time. Now all your time zones will be defined as GMT plus or minus. Yes or no? IST is GMT plus 5:30. IST is our Indian Standard Time is GMT plus 5:30. If you add 5.5 hours to GMT time, you will get IST time. Right? See here. What is the local time? 8:42. Okay. So 3:10 plus add 5:30 hours. So I made this request 2 minutes back. That's why you are seeing 3:10. 3 minutes back.
Plus 3, 8,
So-
8:42.
Right. So you can check like type GMT time now. 3:13 a.m. That is the GMT time. And GMT and what is the GMT? Let me type this GMT and IST. Okay. So Indian Standard Time is 5.5 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. So if you add 5.5 hours to GMT time, you will get IST. You should know this and you should remember this, guys. Okay.
Okay.
These are not related to computers. Those are that is general knowledge, guys. Okay, nothing related to computers or nothing related to testing only. Okay, and E tag. We will discuss this E tag and all. First, let's understand the important response headers. Important response headers that you need to understand is this will tell you content type will tell you what type of response it is, what type of response is received from the server, and this is nothing but your response time, at what time server sent the response. Server has sent the response. Here is, and last modified, this is one more important header, that is last modified, means this page is last modified on 6th Jan. Okay, that's what it means. Shall I modify this page and show you? Let me modify this page, webtools index.htm. So this is one important response header. I just want to explain that. Let me go to the webtools folder and let me modify that page. Then you will understand, like, you know, whether, let us see like whether it will get reflected in the headers or not. Guys, let me know if I'm going too fast. If you feel that I'm going too fast, please let me know. I'm modifying this page content, okay, index.htm. I'm opening it in Notepad++ and I'm modifying the page. Okay, I'll give something, add something here, Jan 2022 morning batch. Just I'm modifying that response, right? Now let me send a request again. I'll do control refresh. Okay, see here, what is the title now here? By default, the title is web tools, web space tools. Now I am refreshing the page. Now you got that time, Jan 22 morning batch. You see that the page is updated here.
Yes, sir.
Now if you see the index.htm, right? See here, last modified, is it reflecting here? 10th Jan 3:15 GMT. This is nothing but if we convert to IST, that will come to 8:45 IST. Yes or
Yes.
no?
Yes, sir.
Now you understood this header.
Yes, Kishore.
Okay, sir. Okay.
What does this say? ఈ పేజ్ ఎప్పుడు లాస్ట్ ఎప్పుడు మోడిఫై అయ్యింది అనేది చెప్తుంది ఈ హెడర్, లాస్ట్ మోడిఫైడ్ హెడర్, రైట్? అండ్ సర్వర్ అపాచీ 2.2.21 means from
What
which
we are
server
using.
you got this response. That's what it means. From which server you got this response.
Okay.
You got this server or WebTools application is running on Apache server. Let me show you that. If you go to your WebTools folder, see, we will not have access to Gmail server, right? That's why I'm showing this example. I hope you understand.
Okay.
Right? So if you go to WebTools folder and if you click on README, right? See here, Apache HTTP server. You
Yes.
see that, right? This is the server on which your web tools is running. Your web tools is running on Apache HTTP server. And which version is this? You can see the version also somewhere. Let me try to show that. About Apache. Install license. See here, Apache license version 2.0. Right? This tells you that from which server you got the response. This one 2.2.21. Of course, you can ignore it, but it is important to understand this one. What is this server? Okay, ignore the version. Clear, guys?
Okay, sir.
Can be found. Okay, maybe this is the 2 is the major version and this is minor version. Here you can see 2.2.x. Right? So the exact version of the server is 2.2.21. So server is sending these headers tell you some additional information about the response. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is about response headers. Now where is what is the third part of the response? The third part of the response is response body. Where is that response body? Where you can see, you can go to the response tab and this is the response body. This is the code of index.html, right? See, observe here, I changed it here just now. Web tools Jan 22 morning batch. This is the actual response of this index.html page. Clear?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So if you understand this, right, once you go to the tool, let me start this JMeter tool. It will be easy for you to understand. I'll open one script and I'll explain you. I'll show you why I am explaining all these basics. And remember, most of the trainers will not explain this initially. They'll directly go to the script and they will explain. Some will explain this or some may not explain this in detail also. Okay, let me open some script and show you. So when see, this is the JMeter GUI that I started, and if you see any request, right, see here, it consists of all this. Okay, let me show you view results tree. 1 second. Let me replay it. Sorry. So if you take any request, see here, you will have, this is the request and this is the request body. This is request headers. You can see if you go to response data, this is response body. These are response headers. So it will be easy to understand like what is this, what are these different tabs? What is response body? What is response headers? It will be easy to understand. And if you observe here, AdvantageOnlineShopping.com is an online application and that is running on this Nginx server. Here you can see Nginx server. And it is running on Ubuntu operating system. What is Ubuntu?
Operating system name.
Right, one flavor of Linux operating system. Ubuntu is one flavor of Linux. Means just like in Windows, we have like different flavors of Windows, right? We have Windows 7, 8, Windows 10, now we have 11. So in the same way, Ubuntu is one version of one flavor of Linux. Not exactly version, but it is a flavor of Linux. Okay. So what information is it giving? Response headers, what information those are response headers are giving? They are telling you what is the protocol and what is the version. And they are telling you what is the server on which this Advantage Online Shopping is running, right? And what is the response time, what is the content type, content length, and all this. They are giving a lot of information, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
last modified, see here, this page was last modified on 22nd December. I have shown you with an example, right?
Yes, sir.
Here in
Yeah,
this case,
yes,
in the
yes, sir.
sample application, I have shown you with some example, right? I modified the page and I have shown you the time. Of course,
Yes,
it is
sir.
showing the time in GMT, but we can, you understood, right? What is this last modified? These are some important headers to remember. Clear, guys?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me list out some important headers, okay? Let me list out some important headers. Content type is one important.
Kishore,
Okay.
those headers are coming from client side only, no?
Server side, from the server.
Yeah, okay. Client servers.
Content type is one important header. From the server, from your server. See, in this case, I got my server is running on my local machine only. So I got from Apache server. These headers come from the server.
Okay.
Where do we get the response from? The
Server, sir.
response from the server nunchi ochindi, right? The
Yes,
response
yes,
headers
yes.
also we'll get from the server only.
Sir, it comes from server.
And we are using developer tools to see that response and response headers. So content type is one important, date and last modified server. These are the important response headers that you need to understand. Date, last modified. These are some important response headers. One more important header is this one, connection keep alive. I'll explain that later. Connection keep alive, content length. Okay, these are the important response headers that you need to understand. Any queries here? Or can I go to the next concept?
Okay, sir.
It's clear, Kishore.
Now, these are important for interviews also, guys. That's the reason I'm explaining. So some interviews ask these basics. They stress more on basics to test your understanding or how good you are in basic concepts. Right? To test those, some interviews ask these questions: what is request? What is request structure? What is response structure? What is meant by request header? What is response header? What is the purpose of headers? What are the important headers? Right? What information you get from response headers and all these. That's the reason I have to explain this. Some interviews ask these questions, and it will help you to understand the script easily. No matter whatever the tool is, but you will understand the script easily. And sometimes you get some dynamic values in the response headers. So you should know first what is response header, right? I made one statement that sometimes you get some dynamic values in the response headers, right? First, you should know what is response header. Then we'll discuss about what are those dynamic values that we are getting in the response headers. Okay, I will cover each. I will cover each gradually each of the concepts required for this performance testing. Right. So let's go in a sequence, proper sequence. Clear, guys? So now let's move on to the next one. So in the next slides, I have already shown this. There are some screenshots which I captured and I wanted to show you. Okay, 1 second. I want to show 1 second. Let me unpack. So when I got these errors, right, I captured those, and just to show you, I kept here in the slide decks. So here you can see there is some server side issue. Obviously, if the response code start with number 5, that is a server side issue. So this is the website where I got this error, frogeltesting.com. That is a website where I got this particular error message, right? And this is onlinehdfc.com, right? So, and this is one more. You can see the website here, education.org, right? So 1016 and 530 both are same, and those represent origin DNS error. So that server side issues can be of many types. Here, this is origin DNS server error. Here it is 520, right? It is an unknown error. 520 represents unknown error. And this one, connection timeout. Remember this response code 522. This represents connection timed out. Means your connection to the server has timed out. And there are some important response codes that you need to remember. Everyone should remember. Okay, let me explain that slide and we'll close it for today. Yeah, these are the 12 important HTTP status codes that everyone should remember and everyone should know. First one is 200 OK. This is important. 201 means created, right? 204 no content. 304 not modified. Actually, there should be redirection actually. Okay, let me. Okay, I'll prepare some my own list. Okay, actually, so that 302 or 301 should be there. Right? So, and 400 is bad request, means client has sent an invalid request. That's what it means. Observe here. The request could not be understood by the server due to incorrect syntax. Means client has sent an invalid request. Then you see this 400 bad request. 401 unauthorized means the request requires user authentication information. User authentication information. There are two things here in security. There are two things here in the user security. Means whenever you access any application, that server validates you in two types. The server does two types of validations. Those are authentication and authorization, right? So see here, what is authentication? What is authorization? Another important interview concept, another important concept also, right? What is meant by authentication and what is authorization? So authentication is the act of we'll come back to this. But for now, remember that there are two types of validation that server does. One is authentication, the other one is authorization. I'll explain that authentication and authorization in a different session. Okay, so 401 unauthorized means the request requires user authentication information. Means it requires some user credentials, or it requires this authentication. So we'll discuss that that authentication and authorization in some other session. And 403 forbidden means this is related to authorization. Forbidden means user doesn't have access to that content. When user doesn't have access to that content, then you get this 403 forbidden. Okay, and 404 not found. This is very popular. You might have seen this 404 not found many times. Page can't be displayed, 404 not found. All these are related to this particular response code, right? And 500 internal server error. This is another important response code that you need to remember. And 503 service unavailable, 504 gateway timeout. These are very popular interview questions. When you see some 503 right response code, right? What does that mean? Our interviewer can ask, like, when I am trying to access an application, I am seeing a response code of 504. What does that mean? Or have you ever seen 504 response code? What does it indicate? They may ask you like this, guys. Understood? So here there is different types of response codes are explained here. 1xx is information, 2xx success, 3xx redirection, 4xx client error, 5xx server error. So this is a pic that I have downloaded from internet. Some important response codes are missing. I will prepare another slide for this, because those are important. 301, 302, those are important. Okay, 304 is not that much important. I don't know why they included this. And no content also. There are some, I'll modify this and I'll share you updated slide. Okay, so I'll stop it here, guys, for today. Any queries before we move to the next session for today?
Sir, regarding response body, I mean, yeah, not like it is like a request body also good.
No. So your request body consists of, okay, let me show you this way. I'll do one thing. Let me clear this. Let me clear everything and let me log into the application. I'm logging into the application. And this is a request that went to the server. And observe here, this is request body. I told you just now. Payload means nothing but request body. And what does this request body contain? See here. What does it contain?
Username, password.
Security.
And password, right? The credentials that I entered on the previous page, that were passed in the request body, isn't it?
Yes.
Form data means whatever data you submit in a HTML form, that is called as form data. And what information is passed here? Credentials and user session. There is something called user session. We will discuss about this user session we'll have one complete session on this user session concept. Okay. So for now, remember this, your username, your credentials and your user session values are going in the request body. Payload is nothing but request body. I don't know why they changed. Previously, there used to be one tab here, request body, and it used to show there itself. But this payload term has become more popular in API testing and all this. That's why they updated it in the browser. Also, some other browser. Let me try to show you some other browser. There you can see request body and a chodachu. Let me open developer tools I remember this guy. I think these guys did not update the term. This Firefox guys. One second. Let me access the application. Okay, let me log in. Let me clear this. Let me do a login. Login. Yeah. They did not change it. See here you can see. They kept it under request. And this is nothing but your request body actually. Okay. These are your request headers, response headers. And this is the request, post request. It is a post request. And here you can see 200 OK, which is nothing but what is this? 200 OK.
Status, successful.
Response, status line, status line. In the response structure, there are three parts. That is status line, response body, response headers, and response body. We just now discussed this.
Status message.
Right. That is status line. That is called as status line. 200 OK. Let me show you. See, HTTP 1.1 200 OK. This is called as status line. Right. So this 200 OK. This falls under status line, and these are response headers. Right. And these are request headers, as you can see. And if you go to request tab, this is request body. This is called as request body. Okay. I can show you that in the tool. 1 second. So see here. Under request, you have something called request body, isn't it?
Yes.
If I go to the same script, I can let me try to open that script, that same Web2 script, and I can show you over there. So if you understand the concept here, like what is request, HTTP request structure and response structure, then this makes you easy to do scripting. So that is the main objective. And one more thing is some interviews ask questions on those, right? So that's the reason I'm explaining this. And if you see the response body, response data, here you can see response body and response headers, isn't it? Response body is nothing but your the HTML code of that page. Response headers means here you see this, right? So this is what is this? HTTP 1.1 200 OK. This is nothing but
Status line.
status line, right? And these are response. So status line is also, it is showing up in response headers. And then you have date, response date, at what time you got the response, and you got server details, and last modified. This is one more important header to understand, and content length and all this. Here guys. So we came across new terms today, right? Authentication and authorization. So when I cover this slide deck, I will explain what is the difference between authentication and authorization in a separate session. Okay. And for recording purpose, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be uploading this video also as a public video. Have a nice day, guys.